Oh, we're back. We're back. Oh, okay. So I said happy birthday, Joanne. I'm sorry. I thought I lost everybody. It said connection lost. That's not good. Good morning, Annette. Nell. Julie, good morning. Are we getting ready for our big weekend? I know it's only Thursday, but good morning, Shirley. I thought we should prep. We should prep for the weekend, because if I do the recipes on the weekend, then you have no time to say, oh, well, that would have been a good idea had I known ahead of time, right? So I have my stars cup, and I have my flag. We're in Texas, so I had to have my hat. This is the ugliest hat in the world. Ugliest hat in the world. Whoops. And then, look at this shirt. I went in Philip's closet. Here, I'll do the turnaround. This is out of Philip's closet. This is a shirt he usually wears, like when we go on the cruise and we get off the boat at Costa Maya or Cozumel. This is what he wears, because he thinks he looks really cool in it. Anyway, so happy soon-to-be Memorial Day weekend. We have a lot to cook this morning. I mean, a lot. I may have overextended myself. But you know, when I start thinking about what's going to all go together, then I'm like, oh, that would go well with that. Oh, and that would be good. So we should do. And so I will warn you today that all of the recipes that we're going to make are ingredient heavy. I'm going to give you some suggestions to limit if it's too ingredient heavy for you. Good morning, Annette. Love the stars cup. I know it's pretty, isn't it? But that being said, just a warning out there. I kind of went ingredient heavy, but I promise you, you know how I do. I try to always give you suggestions for changing things up or using things that might be in your kitchen. So I promise that I will do that. There was just stuff. Hi, Denise. Good morning. I'm going to start with my coleslaw, okay? Now, because I'm going to start with my coleslaw, this is just two bags of angel hair pasta. Silly girl. Angel hair coleslaw. Now, of course, you can shred your own cabbage, and gosh, wouldn't that be a lot cheaper? But Lazy Cindy just bought 2 bags. Now, you probably don't need 2 bags, but you remember how many people I'm feeding. Okay, so we're going to start off with our easy, quick and easy Mexican coleslaw. Now, I've done coleslaw before. I did a tangy coleslaw the last time we did pulled pork sandwiches. This is very similar, but I'm going in a different direction. So, again, if I'm using something you don't like, you don't have to put it in there. I'm going to make this very simple. If you like onions in your coleslaw, like a red onion or a sweet onion, go ahead and put that in here. I'm not a big onion person in my coleslaw, so I'm not using it. But if you want it, put it in there. If you like radishes, if you like the mixture that has the red cabbage in it, you can use that. If you like shredded carrots in yours, you can put that in there. Not me, just the cabbage. And then, of course, I'll irritate some of you. I like cilantro. So I have just diced up some cilantro, maybe a bunch of cilantro, you know, one big bunch. They're like, at my store, they've been about 33 cents or 3 for $1 or something. Okay, so that's it, right? That's all I'm going to put in mine is cilantro and cabbage, because that's what I like. And I've got a lot of other flavors that we're going to put in. So I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to work on what goes in the dressing, okay? So you're just going to need a small-ish bowl, small to medium-ish bowl. Let me make sure. Hello, Sue from Sonora. Wow. Love the outfit. I'm being a little silly today, Tana. Kathy, good morning. Glenise, at Irritate. Hi. Hey, Kathy Spivey. Good morning, Diane. Anyway, so we're going to do, all we've done, I just put whatever cabbage mix you like. I've got angel hair cabbage. You can put carrots, onions, red cabbage, whatever. All I've done is chopped up a bunch of cilantro and put that in there. If you don't like cilantro, you can either leave it out or you can substitute parsley in there. That's fine. Now we're going to make our dressing. I'm gonna keep an eye on my ingredients because I don't want to leave anything out. we gotta have a measuring cup. I'm actually gonna have to measure today. I know. I don't normally. I have to write all the recipes down because when I cook, I don't measure anything. I really don't. Like the first time I make a recipe, if I found a recipe and I went, oh, that sounds interesting, I'll measure because I want to do it the way they suggest, right? But then after that, and the majority of the time I cook, I'm like opening cabinets going, what can I put together? So I have to really sit down and think about how much I use of everything so that you don't go, how could I follow that? Okay, so we're gonna start with canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, and we're gonna need 1/3 of a cup. Let me see where my third mark is. There it is. Okay, 1/3 of a cup of canola oil. I just keep mine in a cutesy little container. All right, so in our bowl, 1/3 of a cup. Then we're gonna need 1/4, let me get it open. 1/4 of a cup of lime juice. Now, if you're not lazy like me, using the squeezy lime, and you want to add actual limes, which probably has a better flavor, but again, lazy, it's about 2 limes. So if you had 2 limes, that's about 1/4 cup of juice, okay? So, but I'm gonna be the lazy girl, and I'm gonna do 1/4 cup, just like that, okay? So now I have that in there. I'm gonna use 3 cloves of garlic. Now I'm using my roasted garlic that if you didn't watch that episode where we roasted garlic, you need to watch it. You can use regular garlic. The only thing you're gonna need to do, and even with mine are, if you're using regular garlic, obviously it's gonna be hard, right? And so, actually I may need a fork. You're gonna need to either mash it up, mince it up, do something, because you don't want big old cloves of garlic. This is a dressing. This is not so I'm gonna use a fork actually. My whisk wasn't doing it. Because it's the roasted garlic, it falls apart very easily. And so I'm doing it that way. Again, if you have minced garlic, you can use that. If you don't have fresh garlic, you can use garlic powder. You can use garlic salt. Just be careful and don't add extra salt when I do. Okay, my garlic is all smashy in there. We're gonna use 2 tablespoons of honey. Am I gonna measure the honey? No, I'm not gonna measure the honey. You can use local honey, which is supposed to be better for you. I'm using the teddy bear. So, let's see. 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. There we go. You can measure. I'm not measuring, okay? Hey, Vicky, good morning. Linda, there's that teapot that they don't sell anymore. I know. Hello, Linda. Hi, Pat. Okay, so we just put in 2 tablespoons of honey. We're going to need, here it is. We're going to need, let me get that half. Okay, we need 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin. So I'm just going to use the half one and do 3 of the halves, right? So it's easier that way. So 1.5 teaspoons is the half. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Ground cumin. Oh, smell that. That is like the Mexican smell, if you ask me. We're gonna use 1 teaspoon of oregano. I'm still using my half, so I'm gonna put in 2. So 1 teaspoon of oregano. I know, oregano. You wouldn't think of that in a Mexican dish. And then 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, okay? So 1, 2. Yum, yum. We're gonna need about 6, depends on you. If you're not a big hot person, you need it for the spice. Love the teddy bear honey. I know, fun, huh? Hey, Cheryl, and good morning. Gonna need about 6 good dashes of hot sauce. You can use whatever kind of hot sauce you like. I'm using Louisiana hot sauce. You can use whatever. If you have the sriracha, you can do whatever. So about 6 good dashes of hot sauce. Again, even if you don't like it, put just a pinch, maybe, just 1. We're gonna need, let me see if I got everything. Yes, and then just salt and pepper. Okay, so I'm just gonna do 3, 4, 5 shakes of, it's a pinch. Use a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper, right? Okay. Then you take your whisk, and we're gonna whisk. And that's it. If you have a jar, you know, like a glass or a plastic jar that has a lid. You can dump all this stuff in there. Oh my gosh, all this stuff in here, and then give it a good shake, okay? All right, so I've whisked it all up. Hi, Sandy. Hotter the better, I agree. Wonder about using tiger sauce. I don't know. You try that out and you let me know. That sounds good. All right, so we've whisked it all together. We're just gonna pour this over our coleslaw, over our cabbage. However you decided to mix it up. Make sure you get all the goodness out of the bowl. Some of my garlic is still in there and I don't wanna leave any behind. Okay? And then you just need to give it a good toss. I'm gonna get, hold on. I'm gonna get one of these. These. Doesn't that look like a Pac-Man? Wonka, 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 wonka. Anyway, I'm gonna get one of these and just give it a toss. You can do it with a spoon. Quite frankly, you can do it with your hands. The only problem with doing it with your hands is we just put a bunch of oil in here and then you're gonna get all greasy. Yee. You know me and get my hands icky. No icky. No icky. So you just wanna toss it until everybody's coated. Everybody's in the party and it's all good and lovely. You can cover this, put it in the refrigerator, really only about 30 minutes and it's good to go. You see how I have this huge bowl and it's all this. Remember that since we put all this on here, it's all gonna shrink down. The great thing about this, especially if you wanna serve it for, if you're doing something outside or you wanna leave things out, this has no mayonnaise in it. And so this is a great coleslaw to have because there's no mayonnaise. So, you know, there's none of this, oh, we have to keep it refrigerated or anything. So put some saran wrap or some foil, or if you have a thing with a lid, if you're using plastic, put that in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes and poof, awesome coleslaw. Okay, now comes the yucky part. You knew there was gonna be yucky at some point today. And here it is, the yucky part. But it's the yummiest part. This is a pork loin, not a pork tenderloin, a pork loin. Good morning, Curtis. What you making, Barb? Oh, Barb, we did a tangy Mexican coleslaw, and now we're doing some pork loin. Hello, Curtis. Hey, Nancy. Good morning. Okay, so we've done the coleslaw, and we put that aside. This is, like I said, a boneless pork loin. This one wasn't on sale. And it was about $15. They've really gone up. If you can get to like a Sam's or a Costco, they sell pork loins that literally are like 3 feet long. You know, they're long. And you look at those and you go, okay, that's like for feeding a baseball team or a football team, right? Even at this, if you have a family of 4, or even less than that, you look at this and you go, my family cannot eat all that. That's just gonna go to waste. So I'm gonna tell you what to do because it's cheaper to buy it this way. Now, a pork tenderloin is much thinner and much more expensive. But it's more tender. Doesn't take as long to cook. It's a different cut of meat, and so it is more tender. This takes longer to cook and it's a little tougher. The longer that you cook it, the yummier, yummy it will get. It's just like cooking a roast or a pork butt, right? You know, it just takes a while. Okay, so I got this big old one. I need my scissors, my kitchen scissors. All right, here's where the gross part comes in because, you know, there's a little bit of up. And I could have done all this ahead of time, but, you know, if you guys don't hear me go, ugh, sorry, somebody called. Okay, so we're taking it out. On any pork loin, you're gonna notice that there's a fat side and a non-fat side, okay? So there's the fat side, there's the non-fat side, okay? I'm gonna set this down and move ickiness. Okay, ugh, yeah. Let me just get some of the ick off. Okay, let me get another paper towel. All right, so we have this beautiful piece of meat, okay? It really is a beautiful piece of meat, but we need to save some money. Because, you know, your whole family's not going to eat this, so you have a couple options. Here's your first option. You can take this big old pork loin and cut it in half. Now you have 2 decent-sized pork loins for your family, right? Now, if you're raising boys, if you have teenage boys, maybe you need the whole thing. But for a normal family of 4, you probably only need half of this. So that's an option. You come home from the grocery store, you cut it in half, you put each half in a freezer bag and stick it in the freezer. Now, when you need it, you can just pull it out. That's one option. The other option is pork chops aren't cheap. And where do you think pork chops come from? Right? So your other option is to take this and cut some pork chops, okay? You can cut, so if you like thin pork chops, do that. You like a little thicker one? I tend to go probably 1/4 of an inch, okay? So wholly up to you, but if you need 4, you could cut it in half first and then take the other half and slice up pork chops, right? So if you're a family of 4 and you say we need 4 pork chops, there you go. Now look at that. That's a good sized pork chop, right? Great sized pork chop. And then you put these in a freezer bag and you can cook them whenever. Okay, so there's another option. We still have this big old honking thing left. I'm gonna cut it down. Okay, so that I have half left. Okay, so you could do 4 if your family likes more than 1 pork chop a piece. Cut the rest of it up and you can have it all the pork chops. Or, so I still have this left from my half. The other option is to take the slices, slice it up and then go ahead and cube it, okay? So I'm gonna cube this 1 piece so that you can see. And so now you've got meat for like a pork stew, or you can slice it thin for like a stir fry. You can, but you've got these cubes that you can just put in a skillet and they'll cook very quickly because you've cubed them up. I like smaller cubes, but you can cube it to whatever size you like. Okay, so now look, now I have cubed pork. So now I can make a steak. Now for me, I might cut 2 more pork chops so that I have 6 pork chops in case anybody wants an extra. Then I'm gonna use the rest of this and cut it up for extra meat. Think about all the money I've saved. I've spent $15, which sounds like a lot for a piece of meat. I've spent $15 on a piece of meat. And out of that piece of meat, I'm gonna get a pork loin, I'm gonna get 6 pork chops, and then I'm gonna get enough to have cubed pork for a stew or a stir fry or a casserole. So you see how we spent only $15, but we're getting 3 different meals out of this for a family of 4. Chop suey, there you go. Green chili, yeah, So those are just some ideas for you. Again, price of meat's going up, so I just want to save you some money. All right, so those are some ideas. We're using the pork loin today, so I'll finish cutting up the rest of those. For the pork loin, hold on, I gotta do this. Okay, for the pork loin, let me do this. No, let me use my other salt. Hold on, let me find my other salt. I can't twist. This hand is gross and I can't twist. Okay, so we're gonna salt both sides of our pork loin and turn the skillet on. And then we're gonna pepper both sides. If you wanted to put garlic powder or onion powder or something like that on it, we're gonna put that in our sauce anyway, so we don't need it, but if you wanted to. Now, you need a smoking hot skillet. Get your skillet smoking hot. You can put a little oil in there if you want, however, or spray it. However, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the fat side down first in the skillet. We're just gonna sear both sides, so we just got a nice little brown color on there. Oh, sweet and sour pork, that would be good to you. I learned so much from you. Well, I'm glad. All right, so we're gonna put this in the skillet, hot skillet. We're gonna sear both sides before we put it in our pot to cook. And I'm gonna tell you why in just a second. Listen for the sizzle. Okay, did you hear that? All right, I'm gonna move this. And I need to wash my hands. So I'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I hear you, you're thinking about it. I have to get meat juice off. Sing a Mexican song. Ah, Macarena. That's not a Mexican song, is it? Okay, I'm back. I just had to get the meat juice off. It was gross. Gross. I'm not supposed to say gross. Smoking. There we go. Okay, so now, while all that's going on, we're gonna make our sauce to go on it. Pardon me, gotta get a bowl, forgot a bowl. Okay, I go through a lot of bowls in this house for you. A lot of dishes going on, just for you. So this is a Mexican sauce, and it's got a lot of ingredients. So I'm gonna tell you what ingredients I'm gonna use, and then I'm gonna tell you the shortcut if you wanna use the shortcut. Before I do that, I'm gonna tell you why we're searing the pork. It truly does create a layer of flavor, and it kind of locks in all the juice from the meat. Is it necessary? Nope. If you just want to put it in your cooker, a slow cooker or your baking pan or whatever, raw, seasoned up, you certainly can do that. But I want you to get the most flavor out of your meat as you can, right? Hold on. Husband can hear from his office and he's there laughing. Yuck, gross. What are the heck doing? Okay, well, tell your hubby hello. Tell him we're just being goofy in here. Goofy. All right, so we need a bowl. We're gonna start off with some barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce you have. The cheap store-bought, if you like Masterpiece, whatever. My friend sells, she's a distributor for the Cocoa Exchange, and so this is sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. So my friend Debbie does that. It was in the pantry, so that's what I'm using. You need 2 cups, which is 16 ounces. Luckily, this container is 16 ounces. Gotta love that. So just dump that sucker in your bowl. The whole thing. Yes, the whole thing. That's barbecue, Cindy. That's not Mexican. I'm about to fix it. Don't worry. I'm gonna fix it. Okay, now we're gonna need a 1/2 cup of salsa. Whatever kind of salsa you have, okay? This is store-bought salsa. If you are about to tell me get a rope, okay, a 1/2 cup. I'm not really measuring. I'm just gonna dump. 1/2 cup. Okay, 1/2 cup of salsa. Well, that's about right. Look at that. That's about right. I'm good. Look at that. 1/2 cup of salsa in there. Now we're gonna need chili powder. Let me turn my spices this direction. Here's chili powder. You know I have it in these little doodads. We're gonna need 2 tablespoons. Tablespoons. Those are the big ones. Big ones, not the little ones, the big ones. All right, so, oh, and it doesn't fit in there. Don't you just love that when you have a great plan, but it doesn't work? Okay, so 2 tablespoons of chili powder. All right. Oh, and it's empty. I gotta go buy chili powder. Oh no! Gotta buy chili powder. Okay, well, we just empty the rest of it in there. All right, so I gotta add that to my grocery list. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is 1 teaspoon. Go to the teaspoon. Go to the teaspoon. Teaspoon of cumin. We just used the cumin, remember? When we did our dressing for our coleslaw. Teaspoon of cumin in there. Garlic. Because can Cindy make a recipe without garlic? Favorite kind of measuring. Dump it all in. I know. Get a rope. Okay. Other end has to open, doesn't it? Okay. We're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder or granulated garlic, whatever your little heart desires. We need oregano, 1/2 teaspoon. Where did my oregano go? Let's see. Okay, oregano. I know, aren't you just freaking out that I'm using an Italian spice in a Mexican dish? And I use barbecue sauce. You gotta be freaking out about that. 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper, not measuring that. 1/8 teaspoon. Now, here's your choice. I'm telling you, you should use this. But if you say, oh, I don't like hot anything, I got it. I understand. You can either put some red pepper flakes in here, or you can put a little cayenne. I'm gonna use a little cayenne. 1/8 teaspoon. Use 1/4 of a teaspoon. Use a whole teaspoon. I don't know how hot you like it. Are you a hot mama? That's my favorite kind of I know, I'm just dumping. Trying to multitask with you is impossible. Sorry. All right, so we have our red pepper. Oh, and salt. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Salt. There we go. And then we're going to need a tablespoon of vegetable oil or canola oil. Tablespoon. There we go. All right, and now we got to whip it all up. I need another whippy. Okay, whipping. Whiskey. Oh, that's a whole different show, isn't it? Shouldn't we have done a a bourbon or a whiskey pork loin? Yum. Okay, I'm whisking. Okay, you think it just smells like barbecue sauce, but because we put the cumin in there and the oregano and the garlic, all those other flavors, it's so good. It's a beautiful dark color now because of the dark stuff. Oh, so good. Okay, now let me show you. Here's our pork tenderloin now. Do you see how it's got a nice little brown crust on it? You see? Nice little brown crust. Now, before you put this in your baking pan, I'm going to tell you what to do. See how little? It kind of got little. I have kind of a larger dish that I'm using only because I wanted to use this pretty dish. The first thing you need to do, whether you're putting this in your slow cooker or you're putting this in the oven, although I'm doing it in the oven, is slice up 1 onion. 1 onion, slice it up. Doesn't matter if, doesn't matter if it's thin slices or thick slices, okay? Because, okay, just put it on the bottom. You don't need to spray your pan. You're gonna have enough stuff. This is your bottom layer. I'm gonna tell you why I think this is good, and I think that it'll really make a difference for you on your pork loin. Here's the deal. A lot of people put their pork loin directly on the bottom of the pan, whatever kind of baking pan or your slow cooker, whatever it is. That means that the meat is touching the pan where the direct heat is all the time. To me, that kind of dries it out, at least one layer. I don't want any dry meat. I want yummy, unctuous, isn't that a good word? So, I want great meat. So I'm gonna put this layer of onions on the bottom. That kind of gives me a little lift up. And if my meat's gonna soak up anything, it's not gonna be that direct heat. It's gonna be that great onion flavor. The other thing I'll tell you, and maybe you know, remember when I showed you when it was raw, there was a fat side and there was a meat side. We browned the fat side first. You can tell that's a little darker. You always want to put your pork loin fat side up, okay? Fat side up. Why is that? Because as it cooks, that fat is going to soften up. It's going to ooze into your meat as well all the way around. So we've ensured yummy, delicious, unctuous pork loin, right? So whenever you're cooking your meat, and this goes for a roast too, make sure, whether it's in a slow cooker or your baking dish, you always put a layer of onions first, that between your meat and the bottom of your pan, so the meat is not touching the bottom of the pan where that heat is. That gives you a layer, and a flavor layer at that. So you put your meat on there, always, whether it's a corned beef, a roast, a pork loin, whatever it is, fat side up, okay? Fat side up, the fat's gonna come down, soak into that meat, and become lovely. First 3 things were barbecue sauce, chili powder, cumin, lost sound. Oh, I'm sorry. Barbecue sauce, salsa, chili powder, cumin, garlic, oregano, pepper, cayenne, salt, vegetable oil. The recipe will be posted as soon as I'm done. I promise you. Okay, hey Judy, good to see you. Rebecca, dry carefully, fat side up, keeps the meat moist. That's correct. Now, so there we go. Isn't that pretty? No, I mean, it's okay. But now this lovely sauce, this lovely barbecue Mexican sauce we did, we're gonna pour that over the top. Oh, yes. If you thought there was not gonna be any lovely sauce to go with your meat, you were sadly mistaken. Okay, there we go. all that sauce all over the meat. Yum! Now, if you are cooking this pork loin just to eat pork loin and you wanted nice, lovely little slices, then I would tell you to cook this for 30 minutes a pound, okay? So, for instance, my initial pork loin was 4. Sorry, phone keeps ringing. I need to figure out how to do the do not disturb thing. Hello, Sue. You missed the salsa. Okay, well, we'll get there. That sauce would be wonderful on chicken or shrimp too. You're right, Vicky. It would. Okay, so where was I? I have lost my marbles. Oh, yeah. So if you just want the pretty slices, you're going to cook this for 30 minutes a pound. My original one was 4 pounds. I now am left with a 2-pound pork loin. So I would cook that for an hour. Then I would take it out, let it rest just for a little bit so all the juices can come back in. And then I'm going to slice it up and serve it with all of this. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to go ahead and pull it. Now, normally when you make pulled pork, you need to use something like the pork shoulder. If you're looking at the grocery store, a lot of things don't say pork shoulder, it'll say pork butt. And we've made pork butt before, right? Pork butt, doesn't that sound fun? Pork butt. Anyway, we made the chipotle pork butt before, and that pulls apart really well. That it's got so much fat, which I like, but a lot of people don't. So this, we need to cook it a little longer so that we can pull it, because I'm going to make this for tacos, okay? So that being said, I'm going to cook this, my 2-pounder, right? My 2-pounder should normally cook for an hour, so I'm going to add 30 minutes to that time. So I'm going to cook this for an hour and a half. You need to cook it covered, okay? So if you have a lid, as I do, pretty. I know you're jealous, aren't you? Pretty. Anyway, if you have a lid, put a lid on it. But if you have this particular size, if you're using a 9x13 or something like this, you can always just cover it with foil. Remember what I always say about cooking things that we need to cover. All the recipe. Oh, yeah, okay. Check your pockets for marbles, because I've lost mine. There you go. What I always say about cooking with the lid on. If you cook something with the lid on it, that means that we've created steam and we're keeping all the liquid inside. If you cook something without a lid or without foil, that water is evaporating and it's going, or the liquid is evaporating, and so things are drying out. If you're wanting a thicker sauce, that might be okay. But with meat, I don't want anything dried out. I want all the liquid, all the steam. I want everything to stay in there. So lid or foil, and for my 2-pounder, an hour and a half. If you did a 4-pounder, then you want to do 2.5 hours, maybe even 2:45, okay? I'm going to cook this on 325. So, and again, it's a lower temperature than you think, but there you go. Okay, so we did coleslaw, we did a pork tenderloin, and now, look at this. I have a voicemail. Who cares? Go away, go away, go away. All right, now, I'm going to make you jealous. I got mail yesterday. Do you want to see what mail I got? Look at that. Tell me how beautiful that is. It's called the berry pattern. I just got it last night. And I had already picked out what I was going to use for today. But when this came, had to use this. This is a rectangle pan. You can use any 9x13 that you have. Now this is a layer dip. And everybody and their dog, I'm sure all of you, know how to make a layer dip. And you've probably got your own recipes and your own way to do it. Oh, you know what I didn't put in my meat? I'm sorry. I had 2 red peppers in my refrigerator, and I cut those up. If you have yellow bell peppers or green bell peppers or poblano peppers or whatever, I just put those in there because I'm going to eat tacos tonight. And so instead of taking an onion and pepper and sauteing them in a skillet separately, remember, lazy girl here, separately, and then, having that separate, and then my meat, I put the onion and the pepper in with the meat so it'll all cook together. Yum! Okay, now, back to our layer dip. So a friend of mine saw a picture online of a layer dip that looked like an American flag. And because Memorial Day is coming up, hold on, we'll do the Memorial, where's my coffee cup? Let's see my cup. Okay, see, this is our Memorial Day. I have my Stars Bistro mug, I have my American flag, and we're in Texas, so I have my Texas hat. But we're going with the Mexican flavors still. All right? Which should be okay. Tex-Mex, right? All right. I know the berry pattern is pretty. So here's what we start out with. We start out with, and obviously, you can make this however you make it. I just wanted to give you a fun idea for the weekend. You take 2 cans of refried beans, right? You know what refried beans look like, right? Kind of look like dog food, don't they? Nope, we're not saying that because then we won't eat them. Anyway, and smooth those out on the bottom of your dish. Bottom of your dish, there you go. There is our beans. Now our next layer, this is not my, oh, this is that. Oh, okay. Okay, the next layer is, what is my next layer? Okay, guacamole. Guacamole's not hard to make. It really isn't, but I'm lazy today, right? So I'm just gonna take the guac that I bought at the store, and you're gonna put guac on top. Now, if you say, we're not gonna eat that much, a 9 by 13, Cindy, we'll never eat that much 7-layer dip, or umpty layer dip, or whatever. We're calling it a patriotic dip, because we are. Then make a smaller one. We're just gonna use it all. Because you know what? In my house, this would never go to waste. Somebody will be snacking on this at midnight. They just will be. I can just assure you that this will not go to waste. All right, so you just spread that out. You know how to make dip like this, right? La, la, la. Okay, get all your guac off of there. You're jealous, right? We're gonna use sour cream next. Let me tell you, when you buy your sour cream, it's a little stiff. If you give it a little swirl with your spoon or your spatula before you start, make it a little creamier, then it's easier to spread. Okay, so we dollop, you know that commercial, do a dollop with, oh, this is not that brand. Never mind, we're not dolloping with them today. We're dolloping with the store-bought brand. Okay, so I use the whole container. It is a 16-ounce container, so that's 2 cups. Because I'm making this big one on the 9 by 13, which this is kind of that size. I didn't measure my dish. I'll measure it for you and tell you what size the actual thing is, but hold on. Sour cream. All right. Now, ooh, ah, you're saying, ooh, ah, go ahead from home. Give me an ooh, ah, there we go, whichever one you want. Sour cream is down. Okay. There's a whole lot of tasting going on for me today. I'm okay with that. All right, the next thing we're gonna put on here is green onions. I have diced up a whole, like I bought the bunch, and so there was probably 6 of them in there. I just cut off the bottoms and then diced the whole thing. We're gonna put this all the way across, okay? I make guac about 2 to 3 times a week. Wow. Well, I should do that too. I love guacamole, but I'm the girl that makes the salsa 2 or 3 times a week. Although, I have to tell you, since we had the episode on homemade granola and that fruit salad, I've remade that fruit salad like 3 times, and I've had to make the granola 4 times. 4 times, I tell you. Okay. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is just Mexican cheese. If you have leftover from when you shredded it yesterday, you could use this, but I like the thinly shredded. For my dip, I like the thinly shredded. So we're gonna put that all the way across. You're like, where's the pattern? I'm not seeing the pattern. You will see it, I promise. I promise. Now this is an 8-ounce bag. If you say, oh, I'm not really a cheese person. Really? No. If you're lactose intolerant, I've told you they have fairly decent tofu cheeses and things like that. You'd think since they have almond milk and cashew milk and all of that, they would have a butter. I know they have almond butter, but that's like peanut butter, right? You'd think they'd have almond cheese by now. Because if you're gonna do it with milk, you think you could do it with cheese, but I've not seen that. Okay, so all the way across, we've covered our green. I'm gonna give us a little pat down. Because man, we're almost to the top. We're almost to the top. How big is my pan, you wanna know, okay? My pan is 12 by 10, 10 by 12. It's a 10 by 12, so there you go. All right, now you ready for our decoration? We're almost there. This, wait, when does that go? Oh, we didn't put that on here. Okay. All right, black olives. Black olives. Now, you can do them sliced. You can do them chopped. Chopped is what I'm going with. And quite frankly, you can buy a can of chopped black olives. You can buy a can of sliced black olives. I had whole black olives, so I had to chop the suckers myself. But there you go, chopped black olives. Now you say, I don't like black olives. Well, don't use black olives. If you want to, in this corner, put cilantro. Or put black beans. That would be good. Put black beans in the corner. You want to do that? Okay. I'm not certain about green olives on here, but you know, up to you. Now, normally, of course, I put these all the way through. So it's hurting my feelings just a tiny little bit that every bite is not going to have black olives in it. But that's okay. All right. I'm trying to make a square. I'm just making a square. I'm not very artistically inclined. Okay? So you can see I've made a square. Do you see the square in the top? We're making a flag. We're making a flag. All right, now we're gonna use queso fresco. I know we already put cheese on here, but really, there's no such thing as too much cheese. This is the queso fresco. Comes in a thing like this, right? A big round. And really, all you have to do, take off the plastic and use your hands and start crumbling it up. And then this is what you get, crumbled up cheese. Oh, so good. Now, we're gonna layer this, and it is 14 ounces. I'm using the whole thing. The whole thing, I tell you. And this is gonna be our white layer, okay? We can't get it on top of our black olives because then it's gonna screw up our decorations, right? Okay, so this is our white layer. La la la. Okay, our white layer is all the way across that. Kinda. Okay, that piece needs to be crumbled more. Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on. I got cheese all over me. And now the last thing, are you ready for this? We're gonna take our salsa. Now you could use tomatoes. You certainly could. All right, this is salsa. This is picante sauce. Picante sauce is all thin, watery. Normally, it's a thinner. Salsa is thicker. So I'm gonna use the thicker, but I may not have enough. You probably need a whole jar. So I'm gonna pour some of my salsa in with my picante sauce. So bad, see, you just use what you got. If you don't have this and you have a can of Rotel, use that, okay? And so now, I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna go layer. You're just gonna do a line. Of course, mine's not gonna be particularly straight. I'm making a drunk flag. I haven't even had anything. What is a good drink? What is your favorite drink? Do you have an adult beverage or a non-adult beverage? It's wholly up to you. What is your favorite drink on like Memorial Day? Like if you have a big picnic, do you do lemonade? Are you iced tea? Do you make margaritas, mojitos? What is your favorite drink? I'm a big iced tea person. When we went on that diet, and I drink sweet tea, which, you know, way so much sugar. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to cut this. So I switched to like the Mio water. So I just have water with, flavored with those Mios. And that's all I drink now. I really miss my sweet tea. All right, you kind of have to go to Chick-fil-A and get some sweet tea. Okay, is that good enough? Let me see. Okay, well now, I'm sure that you could do a prettier job than I. I am sure of it. But, ta-da! Look at that. Now, if you want to be even, can you see? Is that cool? Come on, some thumbs up, some lovin'. Give me some lovin'. You know you think that's gorgeous, right? Sangria with blackberries or blackberry lemonade. Yum. Extra sweet tea, iced tea. Yum. Vodka and cranberry juice. Margaritas. Yum. I'm coming to you guys' house. You guys know how to live. Tequila sunrise. I haven't had those. And so there's no sweet tea in Colorado. Poor Barb. Now, you look at this and you say, okay, but that's not right. The flag is not correct. Use some of your leftover Mexican cheese, okay? And then you can put it, you can do like a little larger pieces. Now, it won't be exact, right? But you can do little, and if it's not larger pieces, you can just do little, clumps of it. Hold on. Putting it all down. Yeah, I should have just left it. It was fine. I am not like creative Cindy. I can crochet and I can cook, but creativity and pretty. Okay, there we go. Does that look okay? So you can use the queso fresco and make little stars if you so desire. So there you go. This is our patriotic layered dip. So what did we make today? Let me find my... Okay. Here's our layered patriotic dip. Really, it's just a 7-layer dip, if you will. You can use whatever ingredients you like or your family likes and just make it a little fun. There you go. So we've made that a little fun. We also did our pork loin. We learned that if you get a big pork loin, big ol', because we're in Texas, right? A big ol' pork loin, you can cut it in half. Cut the size of pork loin you want to cook, and then you can cut off some pork chops. Or you can cut off and make some cubed pork for a stew or a sweet and sour or whatever you do, right? So you can save a lot of money. We're going to get 3 meals out of $15. So if you think about that for the 4 of us, and actually right now it's the 5 of us because of the other doctor, but for the 4 of us, $5 worth of meat for all of us for 3 different meals. So that's a great deal. Here was our Mexican coleslaw. Look at that. Hasn't really been a whole 30 minutes. Oh, well, I guess it has. So we're just going to do this. Needs more salt. But it's got great flavors in there. I think everything needs more salt. Great flavors. This is going to sit a little longer. And then tonight, well, in a couple hours, when the pork is done with all that lovely Mexican sauce that we poured on that, I'm going to shred that up. I've got some great flour tortillas that we got from the bakery this morning. They were warm when they came home. We're going to put that pork in there, and then we're going to put the slaw on top. If you want to top it with a little extra cilantro, you can do that. A little extra cheese, you can do that. And then after our tacos, our lovely tacos, topped with this little tangy Mexican slaw, then we've got a 7-layer dip. Oh, so good. And you don't have to worry about your slaw because there's no mayo in there. How about that? Now, a lot of people, if you taste this and you say, this doesn't taste like the slaw I know, and I know you may say that, would you get me the apple cider vinegar, please? Usually in a slaw, you have to have an acid, right? And the acid is what kind of, between the oil and the acid, that's what's making the everything go. If by chance you taste this isn't open. If by chance you taste this, there's one in there that's, right there. There we go. I'm sorry. That one's not open yet. If you taste this and you say, you know what? I need a little kick in mine.